time for Mac Geek Gab, and listener Alex brings us our quick tip of the week. He says, here's a celebration. When we call someone and they answer, iPhones finally notify us with a vibration. It took me decades to catch up with Android, he continues. Such obvious shortcomings really make me question whether we are fair to call iPhones the most convenient phones. But he's right. This is a very cool feature. If you go into, it appears to be on by default. If you go into settings, phone haptics on iOS 26, it will vibrate your phone not only when a call is connected, but also when a call drops. Because sometimes you don't know that a call has dropped because the sound quality is so pristine and there's no background noise. And it's just like, wait, how many times, many for me, have we talked and realized, oh, wait, that call dropped like in the middle of my soliloquy there. So, yes, settings phone haptics will let you turn this on in iOS 26, and it's probably on by default. More tips like this, plus your questions answered today on Mac Geek Gab 1117 for Monday, November 24th, DB Cooper Day, 2025. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Mac Geek Gab, the show where we share tips like that. We share cool stuff found, things that we found, things that you found. We share questions that either you have or we have, and hopefully some answers coming in. We loosely string it together in an agenda that sets us all up for success in learning at least 5 new things every single time we get together. Our monthly giveaway this month is your own open case that you can get at macgeekgab.com/giveaway. And our sponsors for this episode include PAKA, apparel.com/MGG, and code MGG gets you 30% off 3 items or more. Gusto.com/MGG, you get 3 months free when you run your first payroll by going there. Udacity.com/MGG. And code MGG gets you 40% off of this great learning platform with a ton of AI and tech courses in it. And another great gift idea is auraframes.com, where code MGG gets you $45 off their new Carver Mat frame. So we'll talk more about all that in a little bit. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And here in South Dakota, I'm Adam Christensen.
And here also in New Hampshire, it's Pilot Pete. Good to be with the both of you this week.
It's good to be here. Yeah, good stuff. Go ahead, Adam. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. I just had a quick question about that quick tip, because I think I just read it, and I was excited that maybe they had changed something. And I don't know, is there a way to do this? So what I hate is when I'm on a phone call that my phone doesn't go automatically into like a do not disturb. So I get haptics and vibrations and alerts while I'm on the phone. It drives me nuts.
We talked about this in a recent episode, and I think there is someone came up with a workaround for this, Adam.
Sure.
There is no shortcut automation trigger for I am in a phone call. However, there is an automation trigger for a given app being frontmost on the screen. So when the phone app is frontmost, you can have it kick in. So yeah, I haven't set that up yet, but I know the listener who wrote in with it did and said it worked. And had you set it up, Pete? I know you were interested in it.
And of course now I don't remember exactly the details of how to get there. I'll try to look that up during the show. But yeah, it's nice when my phone is frontmost app, it comes up and says on a call. And
that's great.
It puts everything else to the end, to the side. Yeah.
So it does work. Okay, great.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would love them to put something in the software that maybe just delays those. So it could just queue them up, and when I hang up the phone, then it just alerts me then. You know, boop, boop, boop. So obviously I'm not going to, maybe people look. I don't ever look while I'm on a call. It just annoys me.
It's just annoying. I have been on calls and just removed my watch and gently, I'll say gently placed it down on my desk. I won't say that I have taken it off and thrown it across the room because I'm just sick and tired of it buzzing on my wrist. But one or both of those things may have happened. One of those is true. Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
All right, let's stay with quick tips for a little bit. Let's keep rocking.
I've got one here from Mo Coffee. I always love Mo Coffee. How to shut down a Mac without a confirmation dialog. I've been a long time user of the application Alfred, and it has the capability to shut down without any confirmation dialogues. All you need to do is use the keyboard shortcut to activate Alfred, and type shutdown, and the computer does exactly that. There are also other commands to do a variety of other things, such as start screensaver, empty trash, adjust volume, and even force quit an application, amongst other commands. Cheers, Don. Well, I guess it's also Mo Coffee. That's
yet another way to shut down your computer without a dialogue. I feel like that one requires more keystrokes than the other one, because you have to type 8 characters, shut down. But, I mean.
Or you could set your computer gently down on your desk or throw it across the room. That requires less keystrokes.
One or both of those things. That's right.
Oh, man. Hey, I found one this week, and it was working until apparently I ran out of volume space on the volume I was using to back up my photos library, which is now 28 gigs. I tried to use Finder, and at some point the Wi-Fi went stupid and it failed 9 gigs in. And I'll talk more about that later in the show with another question we had. But I found that Forklift, which comes with SetApp, we mentioned that once or twice before, I think, is much like DeltaWalker. It has a sync function available in it. So if you're in Forklift and you go to commands, you can get sync to, and it'll allow you to pull 2 folders up and sync files in either direction across there. So I've always used DeltaWalker in the past, but Forklift will perform that same thing. And Forklift is a really nice FTP client.
Yep.
That's my main focus with it.
Interesting.
But it's nice. I've been using it now, well, really ever since I started my other show, because it makes the passwords and all that sticky. I don't have to go and look up where it is, what the password is to get my show up to the server, that sort of thing. And that's nice. But
cool.
The fact that it's got a sync now, beautiful.
Cool. In talking about shortcuts, Paul has a shortcut. He says, since you guys like talking about sleep tracking, I don't use focus modes, he says, but could probably use a shortcut to start a focus mode for sleeping, or a sleep mode if I want to start tracking automatically. And so he has a shortcut that the action is that it starts, there is a step called start sleep analysis. So when the shortcut activates, it automatically starts the sleep analysis thing. You're not waiting for Apple's logic to decide that it thinks you're sleeping. You're just telling it you're sleeping, just like when you put it in the sleep focus mode. What is interesting with his shortcut is the first thing it looks for is when his iPhone is connected to power. If it is connected to power and it's between, it looks like 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. or something like that, that's when it will start the sleep analysis. So if he connects it to power at 10 a.m. or something, it's not going to do it. But if it's in his normal bedtime window, then it does it. There's just a series of, so the shortcut is activated when it's put onto power, and then there's a series of conditionals where it looks at the time and decides whether it's sleep time, and then it will start sleep analysis, which I think is pretty cool. You can even have it set an alarm for you if you want.
Interesting.
I know. Yeah.
My daughter's favorite shortcut for when connect to power or disconnect from power is you can use the voice on your iPhone to say something. So she has it say silly things every time it connects to power, like Thank you. I was hungry.
Oh, yeah.
Or like stuff like that. It's so
That's
goofy,
cool.
but-
I like that. That's cool. And I think you can get the battery level too, right? So you could actually have it be conditionally. You could have the sayings be relative to how much power it actually needed. So if it's above 90%, just a little sip.
Exactly.
You mentioned setup, Pete, and that reminded me of something which I wanted to share. We've mentioned it a couple times even already, and that is that I mentioned last week that BusyCal came on as one of our CES 2026 sponsors. This week, we got a few more, including MacPaw. The makers of setup are going to be supporting our CES coverage this year. In addition, in the last week, Ecamm, the makers of all the great video tools there, and Eero back on board with us. And there's one more coming. I don't think I can say it yet, but no, doesn't look like I can. But I was checking my email mid-show, which is something I never do. But yes, BusyCal, Eero, Ecamm, and MacPaw are our CES 2026 coverage sponsors. So, and we're stoked to have them. Thank you to every one of them. There's links in the show notes, and we'll talk more about all of them as we get closer and closer to CES. But there'll be links in the show notes for everyone. Yepper.
Cool.
All right, moving on.
Yeah, Todd has one for us.
Yeah, let's go.
Todd says, using the below instructions, which I will share with you since you can't obviously read it, I set up a command key to go to the Save As PDF from the print window, and basically assigned Command P to the print window. So what happens is, he says, I hit Command P to get the print window to come up, and then Command P again while that window is open to get the Save As PDF window. I use this all the time, and this was a tip, I think, from Max Sparky back in his High Sierra tip, so we'll have a link to that. But basically, yeah, Command P, a little PP, and you're printing to a PDF.
Yeah.
So I think this is being, I would assume this is being set up from system settings, keyboard,
Yes.
and the command keys, and you can assign that to a specific like windows or commands.
Yep,
and
that's exactly
how this
right.
will work.
That's exactly right. In the app shortcuts section, you just add the word exactly as you see it, which is how all of these work. But Save As PDF, it's just another menu, even though it appears in the middle of the screen. And so if you assign Command P to it, that works. I used to have it assigned to not the Save As PDF thing, but an Apple script that triggered saving a note for the show, because when we used to do emails that way, we've sort of changed it now and it uses the clipboard in a different way. But yeah, it's super powerful. And it's one of those things that like, it is the epitome of a quick tip, because once you set it up and you start using it, you'll forget that there was ever a world where you could not use it. And then you get on a computer that doesn't have it. And you're like, why is this so broken? Like, what happened here? So yeah.
You don't even realize it was customized.
You forget that it was customized. Yeah. And I know we've talked about it on the show before, but yeah, good to mention. So, yep.
Awesome. Well, I've got
another follow-up.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit of a follow-up on that. When you're trying to put that in, you have to put in an ellipsis. And if you just hit the period 3 times, no worky. You have to hit Option semicolon to get your ellipsis to type.
That is fair.
So, yeah. And then the follow-up that I have is, we talked last week about creating your digital ID on your phone, and there was some reluctance on some people's part because they didn't want to hand over their phone, particularly to a government official. And the note I got back from Apple when I created my digital ID says, now that you've created your ID in your wallet, you can present it at TSA checkpoints for domestic flights just by using your phone or Apple Watch. It's that easy. You never have to hand over your device.
Great.
That's straight from Apple.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it fits with what we were talking about last week, but great to have that firm confirmation on it. Yeah. Okay. Good.
It's like Apple Pay.
It is. Yeah. If you trigger it on your phone, and I know we said this last week, but if you trigger it on your phone, it comes up and it looks just like any other card appears for Apple Pay. So there would be, just like there's no value in handing, like nobody's going to, Apple Pay only works over NFC. It doesn't work when someone visually sees that there's a representation of a credit card on your screen. So, yeah. Yeah, it's
But
good stuff.
take your passport. It isn't going to work. You aren't going to get out of the country with it.
Correct. Yes. Yet. I mean, give it a few years. I think this will be the way we authenticate ourselves. Yeah, Adam.
No, I was just going to add real quick before we jump away on the ellipsis thing, the keyboard shortcut that Pete gave. The option semicolon is great. Another thing you could do is go into your keyboard text replacements and just put a replacement in for period, period, period. So anytime you type 3 periods, it would just auto
you get your
put
ellipsis.
in the actual ellipsis.
Oh, I feel like
that's thinking.
I feel like my computer does that already. I think autocorrect
It might
sometimes
be the iPhone. I just checked it
does
on my
that.
Mac and it did not do it, at least not in notes for me. So I was thinking the same thing. I thought Apple might already have an autocorrect for that, but they don't.
My computer does. In our Google Doc, which is our sort of live agenda here, I typed "this is a test," period, 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 and continued typing. And then when I went back across it, that period, period, period is treated as one character now. It is the ellipses.
Interesting.
But I don't know if this is something I've customized. I have Text Expander running. I have other things going, so I don't know exactly where. Yeah.
I tend to think. My
you're right. It did
understanding
it.
is. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
It did it for you too, Adam?
Yeah, I just didn't visually look like it did it.
It doesn't visually change at all. No, yeah. I had to go back and look at it. So yeah, I think in many cases, I don't want to say all, but in many cases it will.
Here's where I think it's a problem though, Dave, is when you're creating your keyboard shortcuts and all that, I don't think it's doing it because it wants
to be
exact
what
you're typing in. Yeah,
for sure.
So that's why I mentioned it.
Now I need to double check that it's not part of Text Expander.
Right. Which, but I think it happens on my iPhone too.
Yes.
So that's what makes me think it's part of autocorrect. But to your point, Pete, autocorrect only it's semi-intelligent in that it applies where it thinks it should and not in all cases. So yep.
Which is very frustrating.
Yeah. It's great how it reads your mind, sort
of.
of.
Do what I want it to do, not what I'm telling it to do. Yeah.
All right, we have some more follow-ups, some don't get caught, and hopefully time for your questions and our answers today. The next thing that I want to do is I want to talk about our sponsors. And we've been talking on the show about things to get for your family to win the holidays, right? Win Christmas and all that stuff. And we've got a cheat code here. It is our sponsor, Aura Frames. Personal, easy, and unforgettable. I just set up my first Aura frame here recently at the house, and it is so easy. Setup was super easy. You just download the app, you connect it to Wi-Fi, golden, right? So that, to me, that's table stakes. And of course they nailed it. But where they really shine is how easy it is to get photos onto this and manage it. We see a lot of tech here. I've used other similar things, and it's always just so unnecessarily complicated. Not with Aura, man. This is so easy to use. The frame looks great. It's easy to interact with. The pictures really just come alive. Unlimited free photos and videos you can put on there. Just download the Aura app, and once you're on, you're good to go. And if you want, with Aura, you can preload photos before it ships to somebody, right? So this way it comes a little personalized. It's really nice. You can add a message. Very cool stuff. It comes in a gift box. They understand that you want to win Christmas and they want to help. So for a limited time, visit auraframes.com and get $45 off Aura's best-selling Carver Mat frames. This is named #1 by Wirecutter, and you're going to do that by using our promo code MGG at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code MGG. This is an exclusive Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal. It's their best of the year, so order now before it ends. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout, and of course, using the promo code MGG so that you get your deal, and then they also know it's from us. Terms and conditions apply. Thank you so much to Aura Frames for sponsoring this episode, and really go check it out. I think you're going to love this. And you ever feel like everybody's suddenly an AI expert? Like they went to bed knowing nothing and woke up with a PhD in prompt engineering. Meanwhile, you're still trying to figure out which AI tools are actually worth your time. Well, then our sponsor, Udacity, is exactly what you're going to want. Udacity is this fantastic online learning platform that focuses on exactly the kinds of skills that tech companies are begging for. Generative AI, agentic AI, Python, data science, and more. I love that it's not just watch a video and hope it sticks. You get real projects, human feedback, and it's structured to get you the results you want. You're not just checking a box here. You are learning things. And here's the thing. They just launched a master's degree in AI for under $5,000. That is not a typo. I am reading this correctly. You can upgrade your career for less than what most of us spend on our tech gear every year. And the tech field is always evolving, and you should be too. You can try Udacity risk-free for 7 days. Head to udacity.com/MGG and use our code MGG for 40% off your order. I know. Once again, that's udacity.com/MGG for 40% off. And make sure you use our promo code MGG so they know that we sent you. I think you're going to love this. And our thanks to Udacity for sponsoring this episode. All right. We got a lot of email and some texts and messages in Discord about this. Paul said, I got an email about the podcast this morning. This was last week. He said, but for the first time, I noticed something in there. It said Wednesday, November 17th. And of course, November 17th is a Monday. And it turns out that in the intro to last week's episode, I also said Wednesday, November 17th. Why did I say that? Well, because it says Wednesday, or it did say Wednesday in our agenda. And so I guess I was just, on autopilot. And there was some speculation, Adam, that if you were here last week, you would have caught that.
Dave Ron Burgundy Hamilton.
That's right. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Well, not so much, though. It took 8 times to throw me off with this, Pete, because it has said Wednesday in the show notes since we had issues with the timeline the back in September, because we did record a show on Wednesday, September 10th, and starting with the show on Wednesday, or on Wednesday, September 22nd, which is also known as a Monday, it had said Wednesday in the show notes that went out to everybody on the website, everywhere. It said Wednesday in there. I give us all credit for not saying Wednesday up until last week, but
so I went back and edited. Around here, we call that a Tuesday.
That's right. That's correct. Yeah. So thank you for keeping us. I really appreciate when you folks catch stuff like that. Like we're a team here, and it's great. So thank you, Paul. Ben was the first one to text me about it, but he certainly wasn't the last.
Totally missed it. Still. Yeah.
Yes, I know. Yeah, it's amazing just how we get into autopilot on things. So thank you. I love it. I really do. It warms my heart when it's like, oh, great. I mean, I don't like making mistakes, obviously, but I really appreciate when you folks.
Well, in fairness, Dave, you did that one on purpose to see if anyone would notice, right?
That's right. It was a litmus test, and you failed. It took 8 weeks. No. Oh, I can't believe it. I just it just baffles me that it just never, that's just blind. We got a review, Adam.
Yeah, we have a review from, I'm going to get this wrong, I think, Hongo?
That's how I would say
that
it.
Correctly?
Yeah.
Says, an Apple Geeks home for tips and tricks. A wonderful show with hacks and tricks for the geeks' favorite platform. Love the camaraderie between the hosts and the addition of Adam, R.I.P. Mattcast, filling the slot of the retired John F. Braun. Bring a fresh perspective. Adding value are the other shows hosts. Adding value are the other shows the hosts do. Even though my level of geek can't always keep up, it's well worth a listen during a commute, waiting in line, closing a ring, or even during work. Shh.
Love that. Love that. Thank you for sending in your reviews. It means a lot to us, and it really does help us in a lot of ways. I know if you look, Apple says that their rankings are not impacted by reviews, and there's no reason not to believe them. However, I know that when sponsors are looking at the show, the savvy ones will actually look at how many reviews we have, both the total number of reviews and the recent reviews, because it shows that there's engagement with the audience. Now, obviously, we know that there's tons of engagement with you. Like, the show couldn't exist without it. Like, it's part and parcel of it. But it's one thing for us to tell them that we get hundreds of emails from you every week. It's quite another when they can go to the reviews and see that, without us potentially misleading them, which of course we don't. But yeah, so the reviews do help us in a lot of ways. And it also, like when other people come and see the show on Apple Podcasts and are deciding whether or not to subscribe or whatever, your reviews, especially recent reviews, mean a lot. So thank you. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, very cool. Well, Dave, it's coming up on the holiday time of year. Can you believe it?
Yeah, we're here. It's about to be Thanksgiving and Black Friday, and then suddenly it's going to be Christmas, and then suddenly we're going to be at CES.
Holy smokes. Yeah, just a quick comment on that. My daughter was complaining about something going to take 10 years, and I said, honey, what I wouldn't give for 10 years to last as long for me now as it does for you at age 22.
Oh, dude.
Remember how slow 10 years was back then?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's sort of. Yeah.
Yeah. It's exponentially faster with age. Yeah. And but anyway, but back to the holiday thing. We got an interesting request, and when I read it, I went, "Oh, Dave, you got to do this." So Brian writes in, some years ago, you related how you responded to your kids when asking if Santa.
Wait, I want to stop one. I just want to stop one thing right there.
Yep.
I do want to. I do want you to read this. But I want to give our audience a chance, if you're listening with your children and everyone's looking forward to Santa coming this year. I don't want to spoil any surprises. So you might want to skip over this or at least listen to it with as just an adult to decide if this is the right segment for you and your kids.
And you may want to edit that first sentence back out, Dave.
No, I talked over it. It was fine.
Oh, you get it? Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I knew what I was doing.
All right. I heard me. All right. Hi, Dave. Some years ago, you related how you responded to your kids asking if Santa is real. I thought it was a wonderful way to tie together the Santa of our objective experience and the Santa of our personal experience. Our grandchildren are getting to that age now, and I told our daughter about how nicely you responded to your children. She was very interested, and I don't remember the details of your explanation, only the wonderful effect that it had on me. I would appreciate it if you could send me a copy of it. Come to think of it, since you're in the gift list season, maybe also repeating it in the podcast would be a nice gift to those parents and grandparents who may face that same query this year. And as always, thanks for the heavy lifting you guys do in such a thoughtful manner to keep our tech still bright and aglow for all year long. Brian.
I mean, how can I turn down the request for an encore performance on anything? I'm way too shallow for that. No, yeah, when our kids were in that age range, it just so happened that I was traveling. I was down in Austin in the office that we were just opening up, and I called home for. So this would have been March of some year. I don't know why it came up in March, but it did. And I called home to check in with the family. And as I'm talking to my daughter, who was, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, something, 13 maybe, something like that, she says, hey, by the way, Mama told us. And I said, I don't know. I don't know. And she says, well, she told us about Santa. And I said, well, what did she tell you? And she said, and I had I hadn't prepped on this. This was one of those things where I got lucky in the moment. And because I just started asking questions. And she said, well, she told us that Santa is real. I said, interesting. And my daughter said, well, wait, do you still believe in Santa? And I said, well, I don't know. I said, we wake up every Christmas morning and there's gifts for the family from Santa. And that's what I know. And she said, so you still believe in Santa? I said, yeah. And that's what happens. And she said, if I don't believe in Santa, does that mean the gifts won't come? And I told her, I said, I've never tried that. I don't, why would you want to mess with success on this? And she was like, I could hear like the wheels turning in her head. And she's like, dang it. He backed me into a corner here. And I said to her, I said, look, the only thing that changes in this moment, and perhaps this is the part that Brian wanted encored here. The only thing that changes in this moment is that the decision as to whether or not you, speaking to my daughter, whether or not you believe in Santa has shifted from us making that decision on your behalf to you making that decision for yourself. That's the only thing that's happened here. So you get to decide whatever you like. And that's when she said, if I choose not to, do you think Santa won't come? And I said, yeah, I don't know. I don't play with that kind of fire in my life. I take other risks, but not that one. And that's it. That was the end. I had the same conversation with my son, and it's like, that's where we left it. That's our choice as a family to believe in Santa, and we love it.
If it ain't broke, fix it till it is. Don't fix that.
Not that one. There was no reason to fix it. Like why? Like I love it. It's fun. Yeah.
That's a great lesson, because there are lots of things in life that come down to belief.
Yes.
Belief is a very powerful thing. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Just across the board. I mean, that's a great lesson to teach your children. Like, there's a lot of things that we just go on faith and belief for that are wonderful. And
correct.
Good things in our lives. So,
yep. I
think it's very important to have belief and faith.
I totally agree. Yes. Yeah. Yep. And to be, I think, and perhaps this is what you're trying to say is that it's important to know that you can have belief and faith.
Yes.
That's it.
That's
like
it.
You know that you can have it, and it's your choice to make. And that was really you're right. That was the meta lesson that was going on there, and it has served our kids and us. I mean, I never had thought about it before until that moment, but it was like, yeah, this is a thing. So yeah, we love it. It's great. Yeah,
very cool.
You don't want to. One of the other things I believe in, Dave.
What's that?
Tailscale.
Oh, dude, I believe in Tailscale. Tailscale, yes, for sure. Joe shares, he says, we have a family member in their 90s for whom the Mac has become a Rubik's Cube of complexity. They live in a different city, so when we get the call about their broken Mac, we're generally unable to just pop over and fix it. The solution? You guys suggested Tailscale, and it has been a game changer. During our last visit, we installed it on their Mac. Now, when we get the inevitable call, we can securely log in easily from our own home or wherever we are and fix the issue. Most of the time, the fix is as simple as logging them back into a website that they were accidentally logged out of, or something equally quick. For anyone in a similar remote caregiving or tech support situation, Tailscale is a truly miraculous and free solution. Ain't it the truth? We are yeah. I know we talk on the show about all the different ways we use Tailscale, but and this is one of them. I believe in Tailscale for sure. Yeah.
I years ago I had it was a textbook size, and it was probably about 1,000 pages, and it was about how to get computers to talk to each other, because it ain't easy, and then to get them to talk to each other across the internet is even harder. And Tailscale just went, oh, we got this. Hold my beer.
Hold our beer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And it works.
It's one of those things, though, until you use it, it's really hard to understand how easy it's going to make your life. And I remember having this conversation with John, and because we'd started talking about it on the show. Somebody had sent in about it. We didn't find it on our own. It was one of you that told us about it. And I was like, okay, I'm like, yeah, all right, fine. I'll try it. And I installed it, and it was like, wait, what? This is how this works? And, I had to disconnect my phone from Wi-Fi so that I could test it and see how easy it was to just be connected, even though I wasn't connected to the local network. It's like, this is going to change everything. But until I installed it, even though I read what it was about, I didn't sink in. And I remember telling John, before we travel, man, like install this on your stuff so that, because we were going to head to CES or Macworld or WWDC, some show that we were going to together. And he's like, I don't need that. I have OpenVPN set up on my thing. I'm like, but you're missing me here. Like this is you. No, not that. Those two not same. And, I know you can accomplish.
No.
Yeah, ports to open, right? And the security keys to exchange and manually, and like, why are we still talking here? How come you just haven't installed Tailscale? And he finally did, and he's like, "This is amazing." I'm like, yes, I know. Yeah. So yeah,
it's so
Tailscale.
Elegant.
Yes, that's the term. It's elegant. Yeah. All right.
Well, speaking of beer.
Yeah. Oh.
So I have a little story. I was traveling this past week, as people probably know, because I wasn't on the last episode. My niece had a wedding. It was beautiful. It was great. But I'm traveling home, and I'm going through Dallas Fort Worth, and I have a really long layover. It's like 3 hours. Turned out to be 3.5 hours with a delay.
Yeah, sure.
So I like to go just have a beer while I wait.
Yep.
Maybe grab some food, just kind of relax. So I go to this bar there, and they have one of those. Have you guys ever seen those machines where they fill the beer glass from the bottom?
No.
So at the bottom of the glass, there's a little disc system thing.
Yep.
And they push it down on the thing, and the beer comes up from the bottom and fills the glass. So it's like this whole system. Okay. So the guy hands me this beer, and I start drinking it, and it's leaking out the bottom, right? So it's like entire mess. He had put it down on some napkins, and the napkins are soaked. I'm trying to like clean up this beer. I'm like trying to get the guy's attention because it's super busy. And the guy comes over and replaces it, and I'm like, I look at my phone, and it's like, oh, I really need to charge. And so there's a port under, and I have my cable with me. I brought my cord. I got my plug. I plug in the anchor plug, and I plug in my cable. I plug in to my iPhone, and it says, "Warning: there's moisture in your port. Do not charge. Unplug immediately, or risk damage to your device." And I'm like, ugh. So I'm like trying to dry the thing out. I'm like blowing in the port. Every time I plug it in, it says this over and over again. Then it gets worse. So I wait a little bit. I plug it back in. No warning, and nothing happens. And I went, oh, I wonder if I just fried my USB port.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my iPhone is really low on battery. I'm going to be in the airport for 3 hours. I don't have a paper ticket. I have the ticket on my phone. I immediately put it in a low power mode, but I'm like, I need to get this thing charged. I'm running around the airport trying to find a freaking wireless charger. So my don't get caught for you is, if you're traveling, bring some sort of wireless charger. And I have a battery pack, a Belkin battery pack that wirelessly charges. I couldn't find it before I left for my trip. Like, I was trying to find it.
Sure.
I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in the house, but I lost it. I probably need to stick an AirTag on it or something like that. But here nor there, it's a lesson learned. Don't get caught traveling without a wireless charger, because I couldn't find one anywhere in the airport, and I ran around all over the place. They supposedly had an iStore, but it had closed. And the only thing I could find was an Apple Watch wireless charger. They didn't have a battery pack. They didn't have anything. So luckily, I waited about an hour, and I plugged it back in, and everything was fine.
And it was fine. So it had dried out. Okay.
But
yeah. Man. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Little shot of terror to the heart.
Well, I mean, worst case scenario, I'd have to go find a counter and get them to print me a ticket. But, it's all a hassle. So it's just like, yeah.
Right.
Simple
Yeah, that's
solution would
true.
have been bring a wire. Next time, I will always travel with my, my MagSafe wireless charger that's sitting here on my desk. It's small enough I could have just thrown it into the bag, and it would have solved this entire problem.
I mean, there are also battery packs that are MagSafe too. So like that would be another sort of option because you can charge the battery pack. Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't find it before. I meant to have it in my bag, but I literally couldn't find it. It's somewhere in my house. I don't know where I set it down.
Sure.
At, so
yeah.
And I was willing to even buy one of those in the airport. They didn't even have those. Like
for the premium, for
I would have
the
paid
convenience
$80,
premium.
$100, like
of course
for a tiny one. It's like anything to give me 50% juice.
Yeah, just a little sip. That's right. Yeah.
But you
I was about to beg other passengers.
The whole beer from the bottom thing. Bartenders never believe me when I present them with an empty glass and tell them it all leaked out.
I've heard you try that a few times, Pete. Yeah, faulty glass. I can't believe you did that. Did they refill your glass for you, Adam? So.
Oh yeah. Well,
that's good.
What was funny was so it was a full 20-ounce glass, like tall glass, totally full of beer. Yeah. And this guy, I don't know what he was just. It was his demeanor. I don't think he was a mean guy, but he just had this really grumpy demeanor to him. Like he was very just like, here's your beer. Like he didn't interact very much at all. I've never met a bartender like this. And I say, I think this is leaking. And I kind of show him and he comes over, he grabs the glass, he looks at it and he dumps the whole beer out and then just pours me a new one. And I figured he'd grab a new glass and just.
Yes. Not everybody thinks with a troubleshooting mindset, Adam. It turns out.
So I guess they can only be filled from the bottom. Like there must be a problem with filling them from the top. I don't know.
Oh. and I would have thought state law in Texas would have gotten him in trouble for pouring that beer out like that. But, that's just me.
I guess maybe, PJ in the chat saying they have to re-pour a whole new one. I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of laws or something. I have no idea.
The Texas ABC is the Alcohol and Beverage Commission is no joke. I have been in bars, I've played in a lot of bars in Texas, and I've been in bars where, if they have it out for you, they will show up at your busiest time on a Saturday night and the Texas ABC, they are armed public servants. And so they will come in armed and tell you your bar is on pause now. You will be serving no more drinks until we go through and confirm that A, every bottle has a tax stamp on it, and B, no bottle has any less than one full shot of liquor left in it. And depending on how you've treated them in the past, they can do that efficiently or not. So I've watched both happen. So, yep.
It's interesting. PJ says, they card everyone in the bar.
Yes. Oh, I forgot about that, PJ. Yes, you're right. Yep.
Oh, the ATC cards everybody in the bar.
Yes.
Like, this guy didn't card me. He just gave me a beer.
Right. No. Yeah. Well, yeah. No, the ABC, they don't. That's not like, yep. Okay. Stay on their good side.
Anyway.
All right. Do we have another? Fun. So don't get caught with the Texas ABC either.
Right. That's your second one.
Yeah.
Bingo. Yeah. We got another don't get caught. Yeah, GW wrote in. He says, I can't believe that Messages and Photos has this feature included by default, and I had just heard about it. When you send a photo, your location and captions are included when you send a photo to someone that's so irresponsible by Apple who says it's such a privacy company. This is terrible. You have to go disable this. I consider myself a savvy user and had no idea about this. This is really sad to make this on by default. I think you should mention on the podcast how to turn this off. I think most users don't want that info passed on. They just want to send a picture and that's it. And that's why I'm such an Apple fanboy, because of their dedication to privacy. I'm really upset about this. Keep up the great shows. I wrote, hey, GW, you're absolutely right. That's a great don't get caught. And I've known for years that when you send a photo, a lot of that metadata all goes with it, your geolocation, that sort of thing. So if you're sending a photo from your house, guess what? People now know where you live, and maybe that's why I got a rock through my window about that whole Wednesday thing last week. So there's two ways to deal with this. One is with an axe, and the other is with a scalpel. The axe method is turn off location data in the photos you send by going to settings. This is on your phone. Settings, privacy and security. Tap location services, scroll down and tap camera, and set allow location access to never. That prevents new photos from storing any GPS data at all, and also prevents you from getting that.
Yeah,
data
you lose
too.
you lose the benefit of that, and that can be like those those auto albums that
Yes.
and moments that are created in photos.
I will frequently
in part,
search for
Yes.
Orlando when I'm looking for Disney World photos
Yeah.
of the kids and that kind of stuff. So
You
your
mean
other option
Reedy Creek
is-
Reedy Creek Improvement District photos?
Exactly. There you go. That's right. Yeah. So and your other option is a little more surgical, but you do have to do this every time. Super easy to do though. When you go to share a photo, you open the Photos app, pick any photo, and tap the share button, and at the very top, tap Options. It's a word there that's hidden right in plain sight, right there in front of you, and I've never seen it. Toggle the location off, tap Done, and then send the photo. But it isn't sticky. I was trying to see if it was sticky or not. My experience is that it is not a sticky option when you go to send a photo. In the past, when I've gone to do that, I've just gone into my Mac laptop and grabbed the photo and stripped the metadata out and then sent it through messages. But if you want to send it from your phone, that's the quick and simple way to do it. Select
And
the
I
photo.
did just confirm. I sent a random photo to our group text and turned off location, and then went back in, and sure enough, location defaults to on. There's also an interesting thing here at the bottom of that: AirDrop and iCloud links only, and you can send all photos, data, or not. It defaults to not. And the description says original quality files will include edit history and metadata like location, depth information, and captions. The recipient can view the current version and modify any edits, but that's only if you turn all photos data on for AirDrop and iCloud links. So, yeah, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good to know.
Once again, they've hidden something right there in plain sight, though.
I never saw that before. I swear, you just magically made it appear, Pete. That's what just happened.
Bingo.
Is you made it appear. All right. Let's see. We're gonna have time for questions. I love this. The next thing that we would love to do is talk about our sponsors. And you know how we're always looking for the tools that make our lives easier, right? Well, payroll is one of those things where you really don't want to get caught messing around. That's why Gusto is on our radar here. Our sponsor, Gusto, is online payroll and benefits software built for small businesses. It's all in one, remote friendly, and incredibly easy to use. So you can pay, hire, onboard, and support your team from anywhere. And here's one thing I love: automated payroll tax filing, direct deposit, benefits, even 401k. Okay, that's like 4 things, but it's like having an entire HR team in one dashboard. That's the thing. Unlimited payroll runs, no hidden fees. That's geek-friendly pricing logic right there. We haven't switched over to Gusto quite yet, but we're digging in with one of my other businesses. The more I see, the more I'm convinced it's built for folks like us, tech-savvy small business owners who'd rather spend time innovating than navigating tax tables. You got to check this out. So try Gusto today at gusto.com/MGG and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/MGG. One more time, gusto.com/MGG. Go check it out. And our thanks to Gusto for sponsoring this episode. And you know that hoodie you can't stop reaching for, right? The one that somehow feels like a warm hug, works whether you're sitting at your desk or headed to the airport. You know what I'm talking about because I can't stop talking about it. PAKA, spelled PAKA. It's made from alpaca fiber, softer than cashmere, warmer than wool, breathable, lightweight, and just flat out perfect. I really mean it. I love my PAKA hoodie and socks. I'm not wearing it right now because I'm told you just can't wear the same thing every day all the time. I got Lisa one for our anniversary, and now we've bought even more for Christmas gifts for folks, because if you want to win the holiday gifting game like I am definitely going to, PAKA is going to be part of your gifting stack this year. It's the upgrade your hoodie drawer didn't know it needed, but man, it sure needs it. And each hoodie is hand stitched in Peru by artisans who literally sign their names into the tag. It's fun. Don't get caught giving boring gifts this year. And right now, during PAKA's Black Friday Cyber Monday sale, you can get 30% off with the purchase of 3 items or more. I know, this is crazy. Head to go.pakaapparel.com/MGG. That's how you're going to do this. That's go.pakaapparel.com/MGG to get 30% off with the purchase of 3 items or more. You go check this out. You're going to love it. And our thanks to PAKA for sponsoring this episode.
Fantastic. How about we move on to questions? What do you think?
Love it. Let's do it.
All right. I'm going to make it so at this time because Rob wrote in. He says, good morning, gents, and happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Perfect timing, Rob.
Yeah.
I use Mac Updater to keep up with the updates available to my M4 Mac Mini. Let's use today as an example. In my menu bar, Mac Updater indicates there are 17 updates available, so I click on it and see that 3 apps needed an update are outside of the Mac App Store, but 14 updates are available from apps installed via the Mac App Store. So I pick one of the apps from the App Store, and that, of course, launches the Mac App Store and starts the update on the selected app. I then click on Update All in the Mac App Store to presumably update the remaining 13 apps needing an update. I let this run, and every time without fail, it does not actually update all 13 of the remaining apps that need an update. Let's say it updates 11 of them. That still leaves me with 2 apps needing an update from the App Store. Despite picking Update All, it does not. I have to then go to each of the 2 remaining individually and manually press Update for each. Any idea as to why this happens? Definitely not a major issue, but frustrating nonetheless. I can only assume it's due to some stale cache, etc. And as always, thanks for all you do. I genuinely look forward to each and every episode of your show, even those that feature moi. I
love it.
Thanks, Rob. Love you, brother. Happy Turkey Day to you.
I have some thoughts on this. Adam, do you want to? Do you want me to take it? Or do you want to take it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I have seen this from time to time. However, I see it less frequently now, and it might have something to do with a habit that I've gotten into. When I go into the Mac App Store app on my Mac and go to Updates, it will show me updates. It doesn't necessarily show me all of the updates, though. And if I wait long enough, it might. But you can force it to actually check for active updates by hitting Command-R, just like you would for a refresh of a page in your browser. The Mac App Store really is just a customized web browser. Yeah, so there's your bonus quick tip, right? And that will refresh the list, often bring more things in. But what I'm wondering is if either that is happening to you, or maybe there's like an old, I don't know, like that page is not necessarily the most current version of that page. So if there's been a second update to an app since that page got there and you go to click it and it's going to update to an older version or something, I don't know. But I do know that making that page the most recent version that it could be by hitting Command-R before clicking Update All mitigates this substantially, if not completely. There are times where an app just won't update or something, and it's well, just wait and reboot or something. But that's my offer for this. So, do you have anything to add, Adam or Pete? Yeah.
Nope. I was stumped by this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hit Command-R and went from 7 to 8 as you were speaking. Bang, zoom, boom, done.
Yep. It's frustrating that's how it works, but that's how it works. So, half the battle is knowing. So,
all right. Well, Ed has a question for us about mail. He says, I'm having problems deleting random email messages. Occasionally, after deleting a mail message, the mail tool displays moving message 1 of 1 at the bottom of the mail sidebar, and then the email message reappears in my inbox. Other times, the email message does get permanently deleted. Any ideas what's going on? Ed.
So I took the liberty of answering this, but I couldn't answer part of the question. Perhaps the most important part, and hopefully one of you two can, which is why.
Okay.
I got no ideas as to why, but it happened to me recently. And so I went into mail and I rebuilt the inbox. Go to mailbox menu and go to the bottom and hit rebuild. And it recreates the index and gives it a clean slate of a database to work from. And so my suspicion is it has something to do with the IMAP syncing and which devices are on and off and who's taking priority. But that's a technical explanation, everybody. I hope I didn't go too deep.
Do you have thoughts, Adam?
No, I mean, I think Pete's on the right track. I think, and that is a technical explanation. Like sometimes these things are just mysterious, like I think rebuilding the index is probably the right way to go. Probably one of the first steps I would have tried. So yeah, I mean, IMAP can get wonky sometimes, but I don't know. Outside of that, I don't have a more technical answer. Maybe, again, Dave, maybe you do.
Well, I also saw this email, and so I saw that Ed was using an iCloud address. So let's assume that he's using iCloud. But I've seen this with other things. I think, Pete, I have one thing to add to your suggestion, and that is, in addition to rebuilding the mailbox that you are moving from, say, your inbox, I would also rebuild the mailbox that you are moving to, because the problem may be that, if the index of the archive mailbox is corrupted or not quite right, then that could also stop a move like this. Yeah. But I will say this. When you're rebuilding an IMAP mailbox, it deletes your local cache of everything in that box and re-downloads everything from the server. If your inbox has, 10 or even 100 messages, that can happen very quickly. If your archive mailbox has 15,000 messages, you're going to want to do this when you have a little bit of time. It shouldn't take terribly long, but 15, 20 minutes wouldn't be a surprise to me. And most importantly, you want to make sure you're on a very stable internet connection when you do that. So it's not going to break anything on the server. If you don't get it, it'll sync up the next time it can, but you just won't have that local cache of it. So I think those two things are what jumped to mind for me. And then the other question is, are you having connection issues when this happens? Because it is a dance and a synchronization that it will do with the server. And if the sync doesn't happen, if you say, okay, on your Mac, you move, from mailbox A to mailbox B, if for whatever reason the server never receives that command, then the server is going to say, no, that message is in mailbox A. And with the way IMAP works, the server is the truth. So it'll tell your Mac, no, put that message back over here. And your Mac says, okay, somebody else must have changed it. That's fine. I'll put it where the server says. So that could also be a factor here. That's what I got.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Yepper. Shall we move on to Steve?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Steve asks, he says, in looking at my storage on my iPhone, it indicated I've only got 7 gigs left. So I decided to see where I can cull some space. I go to settings, iPhone storage, and it shows that my mail folder is using 2.7 gigs. I proceeded to my mail folder, cleared out all my sent mails, my unneeded saved files, cleaned out my junk folder, and trash items. When I returned, the iPhone mail storage said it still showed that I had 2.7 gigs of email, yet all of my individual files and all my mail accounts are clean. Is there another storage area that files are kept?
I said I'd answer this one, and now I'm going to say I probably don't know. I know other ways to clean out storage. On the mail thing, I'm a little stumped, Dave, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me too. I do know that window, the screen, when you go to iPhone storage, it won't necessarily update immediately.
Okay.
So I would quit the settings app and go back in and see what it says. It'll take a minute to recalculate and see if it made a difference. I know that there was a thing, the whole storage on the iPhone thing. Some of this stuff might be in some sort of trash can that you don't get to touch, and right. You have to wait for the iPhone to do garbage collection. I remember what people would do is in the past, and I don't know if this still works today, but when this would happen and you wanted to sort of force that garbage collection, you could go to the movie store and start downloading a very large movie that's larger than the amount of storage that you have left. And that forces the garbage collection to happen and clear out all kinds of stuff. That's how people would get rid of the stuff that was in like that system folder back in the day when Apple wasn't being aggressive enough in cleaning that out. So that would be one thing. I think this is that Apple's decision or logic, rather. I think Apple's not deciding for each of our phones, but the logic that they've put in there to decide when that garbage collection is actually going to happen, and it cleans up all of the stuff that you have marked as deleted. Yeah. So.
Yeah, because that's where this threw me off, because I was going to be like, make sure you go into the actual trash folder and empty the things that are in the trash. But he said he had already done that. Same thing with the junk folder, right? Because that stuff will live there. So it's not just like, trash all these messages. You have to they'll sit there for a certain period of time. I think there might even be a setting for it. I was going to go look for how long that stuff may just live there indefinitely until you actually truly empty the trash. But he said he did that. So just in general, the other thing that I was going to recommend in terms of iPhone storage in that same area, settings, iPhone storage, I think it'll give you some helpful tips. Like I just went to mine and it shows, large attachments that are in messages. Yep. Messages is a huge culprit these days for a lot of people of storage, because everything that you get sent in terms of a video, a photo, a collection of photos, depending upon your messages settings, all that stuff will live there forever. And maybe you don't need every single photo, screenshot, image of my daughter's dinner plate stored there forever and ever. You can move those maybe over to photos and the ones that you want to keep, and sort of clear out the ones that are less important.
I actually have teed up a conversation about messages specifically. So we will have that here, but and now might be the right time. But I think Pete had something to add to this. Is that right?
I have a question that you may be able to answer and may not be able to answer. The question you probably can't answer is, did he reboot? The question you probably can answer is, is it a cache issue? Would reboot?
It might be. Yeah. Okay. And Soccer Hallways in our live chat in our Discord suggests or asks, doesn't plugging it into your Mac sometimes clean it out? And yes, I mean, anything to sort of trigger that, I keep calling it garbage collection, which is kind of the term for it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, and then, and I may have just taken us into the whole messages thing, but I thought there was a setting in messages where you could say, hey, delete this after a year.
There is.
Delete it after 30 days.
Let's have this conversation.
All right.
Because this is something that over time and I'm sure many of us are struggling with, because I have all of my things set to keep messages forever. I don't want it deleted after a year. But where I want it stored is in Apple's cloud. I don't need it stored on all of my devices, which it turns out is how messages works. It is stored on all of your devices. So if you choose keep forever, well, guess what happens? And it's like, I wish I could choose, like with photos, you can say optimize storage on this device and don't pack it with all my crap, but not on that device. You don't get that solution. But I started thinking about this because I don't like every iPhone and iPad that I get just filling with all of my messages data, but I don't necessarily want to lose it. And I have plenty of storage options here to choose from. When macOS 26 came out, I had a media indexing problem, which was just running rampant. Part of that was related to it indexing the messages. Part of it was related to indexing my huge photos library. And part of it, I think, was a bug that was solved in 26.1, because things have been much better since then. However, during the investigation of that process and looking at all of the files that Media Analysis D has open all of the time, we mentioned this in the show, I found a second photos library. And that second photos library on everyone's Mac is in a library home, library, photos, libraries, syndication.photos library. And this library is every bit of media that is in your messages, and also there was something somewhere else that it was saving things from too. I've realized recently, but certainly messages and some other things. So I started thinking, well, what if I archive off the originals from that photos? If you open up a photos library and you right click on it, you can go in and you see all of the thumbnails that it generates, and it's got some indexes and databases and all that stuff, which is awesome. But there's a folder called originals. And if you go into that folder, then that's just a series of folders that contain all your original photos. So what if I just archive off everything in originals once a week from my, one of my Macs to, say, my Synology? And that way it's just all there. But I don't, I tell it not to delete, not to match any delete. So if something from the originals folder gets deleted, it won't delete it on my destination, on my archive. Are you with me so far on this, Pete?
I am.
I got a thumbs up from Adam. Okay. So if I do that, now I have everything saved. And I have done this. It was very easy to set up with Carbon Copy Cloner. It worked totally fine. And now once a week, my Mac in the office goes and sees if there's anything new in that folder, that originals folder, and just archives it off on my disk station. So I haven't yet pulled the trigger on telling it to delete messages that are more than a year old, because I wanted to talk to you guys about this to see if there's any flaws in my logic here. I don't think there are, but that way if I can set it to, only keep a year's worth, man, that would free up storage on so many of my devices. I see the wheels turning in Adam's head on our video stream here.
I'm trying to think if there's any downsides to this. I don't remember what setting I might have that setting on by default anyway. But I'm not super sentimental about a lot of stuff.
That's really what this is sentiment. And the issue would be, I think what I would lose is not the media from the messages, but the messages themselves would be ephemeral now. Yes.
Yeah, and that's where something like iMazing comes in, because I'm pretty sure you can use iMazing to archive your messages to PDFs or text files.
Yes.
I remember that being a feature. I haven't used it in a while. You can definitely back them all up, and I think it'll just put it into a big PDF or something like that, and then you could back that up, obviously, to your Synology.
Yes. That's what I want to do. Okay. See, I'm so glad we had this talk. This is why I waited. I was so tempted when once I got that first copy, I'm like, I can do it now. I'm like, nope, must wait.
And because of the data stuff, I need to go look, but I think Apple too, I think if you go into your iCloud, just like any service like Gmail or all these other ones, because of all the data privacy stuff that has happened, I think most of these companies are now required to provide some way for you to back up all of your cloud data. And since all of your messages, if you're using messages in the cloud, are in there, I think you can request a archive, and it will give you something that has all of your data in it. I seem to remember that, but I need to go double check on iCloud. But I think there probably is on iCloud.com some way to say, hey, I want the archive of my messages. So if you were leaving iCloud, right?
Yes. Yeah. How can I download that archive from iCloud? I'm trying to find it as we're talking here, and I'm failing, but
I'm sure our audience will correct me if I'm wrong, but I seem to remember that being a thing.
Yeah. It would be the GDPR archive, effectively, of your data. Yeah. Yeah, request all we've definitely talked about this. Huh. All right, we'll find a link. We will put this in the show notes. Somebody, one of us, or somebody in the live chat.
Follow-up.
Yeah, that's true. We'll do a follow-up. Yeah. That would be another way of doing this. Yeah, okay. Love that.
Before you delete them from your account.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, no, I realize for myself and all of us that are considering doing this, we're standing at a precipice here, and we need to make all the right decisions before we leap, because you can't bounce back up, I don't think. So, yeah. All right. We'll have to look into this. Great. All right. We still have some time. Pete, you want to take us to Steve?
I can make it so. Yeah, Steve wrote in. He says, "Hey, gents, you guys often make references to SSH-ing into your computer from a remote computer. And I'm wondering if you could briefly explain what that actually means and how it differs from what I do on a fairly regular basis, which is using Mac OS's built-in screen sharing function to remote into my Mac at home from my MacBook when I'm out on the road. Or also he writes, is one method more secure than the other, or are they mutually exclusive purposes? Thanks for everything you guys do, Steve."
A great question. So SSH-ing means connecting to another computer via a terminal session. That's what happens there. The protocol is secure shell, which is where SSH comes from, I think, right? Does that fit with what you know, Adam?
Yeah,
okay, great. Yep, but it is a secure connection, but it really is just a terminal to terminal connection. I don't believe your Mac is set to answer calls on this particular engine unless you turn it on. So on the machine that you want to SSH into, you have to go to System Settings, General, Sharing, and Enable Remote Login. What's cool there is once you've got it enabled, there's the little eye kind of in a circle. If you click that eye in a circle, it will show you, and you can even copy paste it if you want, the specific SSH command that you would type into another computer that is on your local network to connect to that, or on your Tailscale, which is one of the things I love to do because I can SSH into any of my Macs anytime. But that's really it. Is that? And I usually just the format of an SSH command in the terminal is SSH, all lowercase. That's the command, space, and then short username at IP address or local DNS address of the computer. So, for example, if I'm in the studio here and my iMac my Mac Mini in the office, I don't have my iMac anymore. If my Mac Mini in the office is at 192.168.1.10, I would type SSH space Dave at 192.168.1.10. And then it would ask me to accept the exchange of the security keys, which I would say yes to. That generally only happens once. And then I type my password and I'm good to go.
Yep. The other thing, when you're setting that up, you do need to allow access, especially if you're not using, the accounts that you have on your Mac aren't set up as admin accounts. You need to add the individual user accounts that are allowed to access remote access. I think administrators are in the group by default, but there's a little section that says allow access for, and you can say all users, or I would recommend only these users.
Yep.
And then add specific users you want to give access to. And these are just the accounts on your Mac, and you use,
sure.
like Dave was saying, the same login you'd use to log in to your Mac. And then the only other thing, if you're not using something like Tailscale, you may need to open ports and connections and all that fun stuff from your router, because it uses port 22 by default.
Yeah, I
would recommend not using that on your external router and doing a port forwarding mapping to some other port, because that port would be frequently attacked.
Or just use Tailscale, like
Tailscale,
that, and that, yeah. But, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So interesting. Quick question, Dave. Do you have to turn on sharing in system settings in order for screen sharing to work? I don't think you do.
That's a good question. I think there is a. So if we go into settings, general,
maybe when someone requests.
I think remote management is the thing that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Allows for screen sharing. I believe. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah. If you use
I'm sorry. If you go into settings, general sharing at the top in content and media, you'll see screen sharing there. You can either turn on screen sharing there or remote management. They can't both be on at the same time. Remote management opens some more things for Apple Remote Desktop. But if all you're going to do is screen sharing, then you can leave remote management off in the advanced section and just turn on screen sharing.
I've got a note, though, in mind because I have remote login, remote management done.
Yeah.
So under screen sharing, it's turned off on my Mac Mini in the basement. And it says, this service is currently being controlled by the remote management service.
Correct. So it's on. Yeah.
It's on, even though it's toggled off in the visual.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah. Well, and then I also answered Steve with another point here, which I've now managed to hide from myself because I'm looking at the computer in the basement. There it is. And basically, I said you and Adam probably use SSH more than I do, but I use it as my go-to when I manage to lock up my computer some way, somehow. What have you, then I'll SSH in and generally give it the sudo shutdown -r now. In order to bypass all of the locked up stuff, that terminal command will reboot the machine right then and there. And I used it the other day on my disk station. You can SSH into other machines. I used it on my disk station when I was talking about that file transfer that I did that failed. I tried to delete it using Finder. That didn't work. I tried to delete it using DeltaWalker. That didn't work. And so I went into my Synology disk station via SSH, and disk station yelled at me, hey, dummy, be careful doing this at this level. You're at the root, and you can really screw things up. So be aware. With great power comes great responsibility. I was able to get in there though and point to the correct directory and delete that 9 gig failed transfer. Rather instantly. So
nice.
Yeah.
Are we going to try and? I mean, we're at our hour and 15 mark here. I think it's time, isn't it?
Yeah, we got to wrap up. I got to actually run. I'm getting pinged by the office.
It is that time. In many ways, it seems. Yes. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Fun stuff. It turns out we didn't get to everything, so you know what that means?
Again?
We got to do it again. Yep. 11:18 will happen. Woo. Yep.
Will we ever get to the end of the internet, Dave? Ever?
We've tried that twice in the last month here. AWS went down, and then Cloudflare had their outage.
That was terrible. I have no idea how long I troubleshot Cloudflare being down before I found out Cloudflare was down.
I think it's because I've been through outages not like this, but internet outages where when May East would when that would go down, it could actually route around it, right? Like the internet did what it was supposed to do, but things would be slow. And for some reason, both of these outages, the moment they have happened, I've known that it's like one of these linchpins of the internet, the AWS or the Cloudflare. I think it's just my spidey sense over the years got tuned to it. But it sucks because the internet was built to route around damage, and now we have centralized on so many of these providers that clearly when AWS or Cloudflare goes offline, the internet effectively, the internet itself is passing data, but all the things we want to get to are removed from it. So, I was
in the middle of trying to configure a server for my IPTV, and when it wasn't working, I thought it was something I'd done.
Yeah, exactly. But no, episode 1118 will happen, folks. It is true. And we are at an hour and 18 minutes now. So thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks to CashFly for all the bandwidth to get the show from us to you. Thanks to all of our sponsors for this episode, and of course for all of our CES 2026 sponsors. Woo-hoo. Thanks to all of you for listening. Thanks for the reviews. Thanks and thanks and thanks. It's a week of Thanksgiving, it turns out, and we're starting it off. Yep. Thanks for hanging out. Feedback at macgeekgab.com if you want to send us
feedback
anything.
at macgeekgab.com.
That's feedback at macgeekgab.com.
Folks, don't get caught. Have a nice Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week.
Made on a Mac.
Later.